We are social by nature, and our ability to communicate becomes a cornerstone of our private and professional lives. So what happens if all of a sudden, for something that becomes so natural to all of us, becomes so difficult? Perhaps an anxiety, a social anxiety. This video will talk about social anxiety, what it is, how to understand it, and how to overcome it. It will help those people who are struggling with social situations. And for even those who are not affected by this, it can broaden your understanding of thought to realise that for something that is so natural to most of us, for others, can be a real challenge. If you enjoy this video, please press the like button, subscribe to the Mind Life channel, and leave your comments and click the notification bell to be aware of future videos. This is Understanding Social Anxiety, and I look forward to seeing you on our next journey. We are social by nature. We are born to be around people. Our minds are moulded to be attracted to it, rewarded by it, comforted with it. If all of a sudden we fall out of favour to be with other people to the extent we become fearful of it, it not only becomes awkward, it is in essence traumatic. As it is part of life for everyone, every living thing, to be social with each other, now all of a sudden becomes foreign to you, as if you were outcasted. What has happened is an anxiety, a social anxiety, where almost everyone new to you is now beyond your means. This video will talk about social anxiety, what it is, what it does to us, and how we can go about addressing it. Let us start by asking, what is social anxiety? Social anxiety is a fear of being judged, the fear of saying the wrong things and being ridiculed as a consequence. It is an emotional response. It is learned over time and is triggered by a past experience or trauma that hasn't been fully understood. It raises our heart rate, makes our skin sweaty, our bones to tremble. It can be, to an extent, unbearable. And while it is in essence a mental disorder, it also triggers other conditions like depression and addiction. Social anxiety builds expectations, draws conclusions about everything and everyone around you. At every inch of your imperfection will be judged in the harshest of manners by yourself. Your mind's reflex reaction towards this fear is to retreat and run away and isolate where no one is near you, as the sight of any person will be literally agonizing. There is no hope for people who suffer from social anxiety. As with any mental disorder, our minds can be remolded. So how do we address a social phobia problem? Well, here are 3 ways to do so. It firstly begins with our awareness, as through our awareness we can understand these feelings, no matter how much we make of them. And we can ask ourselves what makes us so scared to interact with others in the first place. Is it the sound of a voice from a time in the past when you felt a loss with somebody and have not dared to inquire since? As social phobia is purely a mental disorder, we can question the validity of these feelings, as what you have experienced before is well beyond you now. It is just your mind reenacting it, as if it were in the present. Secondly, we can take the focus away from you. Look around and notice what is around you, what people wear, the colours of the wall, taking the attention away from your own thoughts and concentrating on everything else. This can increase your alertness and be handy to comment when starting other conversations. And finally, when in conversation, focus on words. Focus on what words you can build your dialogue on, which can give you confidence. Also, focus on the words of the other person, being immersed in their conversation, literally drowning out your fear. As simply by practicing the art of conversation, even starting small and working your way upwards, You will soon rediscover the natural essence of it, as it was never lost. It was only your mind believing that it was. If you go back to what was mentioned earlier, that we are social by nature. As if we think about it, if we aren't social with people, not only are we not fulfilling our emotional needs for attachment and camaraderie, but we also don't prosper our career and prospects either. And while you may not realise it, people with social anxiety are one of the bravest, as it is part of life that we have to communicate, as we cannot hide in our rooms forever. So it takes intense courage to constantly face your fears and still bring yourself towards other people, when at the same time your heart is pounding and your mind is racing. As this shows you the strength that you have and the sanity of your values that will aid you to pull through it. The only limitation is what you are prepared to face. An abundant life simply awaits you.